everybody, and welcome to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast on RashPixel.fm. I'm Pete Wright, and right over there is Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Pete Wright.
Nikki, how are ya? I'm
doing great. How are you?
I'm tired. Can I tell you why? It's so stupid.
Okay. Tell me.
The weather has changed. We've reached the confluence of events that cause me to be tired in the morning. The weather has changed. It's nice and warm. We sleep with the window open at night to get the nice evening breeze. My wife has a phone, and the alarm is such that it is outdoor spring noises. So when the alarm goes off during the winter, we hear birds tweeting, and it feels like the sun is just coming up, and it's the most adorable thing. But this morning, just before 5, actual birds started screaming outside my window, and I woke up as if it was my wife's alarm. And now I'm just up because my body says, oh, birds mean be awake. And now I'm exhausted. The birds have flown away. I have no birds to keep me awake. Here it is now 10 o'clock, and I'm exhausted.
Yes.
I need you. No. You are going to keep me awake today, Nikki.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a heavy responsibility.
This better be good.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right.
What do you have going
I'm going
on?
to do my best. Well,
Yes.
This is what's funny. You remember how last week we were like, we're not really garage sale people?
You're having a garage sale?
I'm a garage sale person this weekend. Yes, but not at my house. But this is what's so funny is that
the best way to do it is do it at other people's houses.
Yes. Well, because here we were last week just talking about, we may not be the right people to talk to, right? About garage sales. But then my mom, she lives in a neighborhood and they do this annual garage sale, and it's the first weekend of June, and it's every year. And she doesn't always do it. But she texted me earlier this week, and said, I'm doing the garage sale. Do you guys have anything? Because I don't have very much. And I'm like, oh boy, do we ever? And oh boy, how could I do this so that it's not stressful and time consuming? And so after we are done with the recording of this show, I am going to be gathering stuff around the house. I'm going to make it kind of fun so that it's not stressful. And I'm just going to, get what I think would sell and put everything in the back of my car. And I'm going to take it over to my mom's house tonight. And then tomorrow morning, my daughter and I are going to get up really early, like earlier than I ever normally get up. And we're going to do a garage sale.
You know what I like about this? Let me tell you what I like so much about this. Since you're doing it at your mom's house, I think judges would rule this is still you not officially being a garage sale person.
No, because it really is like, I don't know.
It's consignment. It's consignment. That's what it is. So you get all the benefits of the garage sale with none of the sort of eating crow that would come along with you actually having to say you're now a garage sale person. So congratulations on the flaming hoops that you had to jump through to make that happen. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. So
you're welcome.
I'm going to get rid of some stuff today, purge, let go of some things, and maybe make a little bit of money, and we'll see how it goes. But and I'm going into it, I have anxiety, so I'm not going to, that just is part of who I am. Mm-hmm. And I can see myself getting kind of anxious about, did I get everything? Like I need to keep working. But I've already gone into the mindset of, I'm just going to do what I can. And when I get tired, I get tired. And, I can worry about everything else later. And, maybe I'll do a garage sale. I doubt it, but maybe I'll, send it to my favorite donation place, which sounds good too. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm trying to really go into it with a very just positive mindset.
You should. And my thing about garage sales, one of my many things about garage sales is the absolute brain damage that comes along with, what if people don't like my stuff, right? You start to take it personally if stuff doesn't get bought. I have nice stuff. Somebody come get my stuff.
Buy this. I know. Well, I'm kind of glad that my husband is not going to be there. And I'll tell you why. Love my husband. But he is a salesperson. Like it is in his personality to sell. And the last time we did have a garage sale was several years ago. We had just moved to our house, and we had my son's old high chair. And he sold it to a grandma who sees her grandchildren maybe once or twice a year. And
Oh, dear.
he sold it to her. Like, he was like, you need to have this high chair. So when
Yeah.
they're here, the baby has a place to sit. Like, what's going to happen if the baby doesn't have a place to sit? And I mean, they went this whole conversation and she bought it.
That's
I
fantastic.
mean, it's just amazing.
What's it gonna take for me to get you to walk home with this used candle?
Yeah,
What do I have
it
to
is
do
sort
for
of
you
embarrassing.
today?
It's
Yeah.
a great trait, but I'm like, oh, too bad he can't make it. Although at the same time, I probably won't sell as much with.
Yeah, right. You need him there.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Stay tuned. I'll let you know how the garage sale goes.
That is a perfect segue for us to talk about what we're going to talk about. You are going to put into words your experience tomorrow morning when you start your day right.
Yes.
What do you think about that? I can't
Yes.
wait to hear how you talk about this. You know the drill, everybody. Head over to TakeControlADHD.com. You can get to know us a little bit better and listen to the show right there on the website, or subscribe to the mailing list and get an email when the latest episode is released each week. You can connect with us on Twitter or Facebook at TakeControlADHD and call us at 503-664-4ADD. Get your voice and your thoughts and your questions on this show. We would love to hear from you. And you know what? While we're saying that, we are gathering success stories, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And they're great. And
Why
I
are
cannot wait
Why
to
are we
share
doing
them.
that?
Because I want that to be a really great show.
Oh.
What a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well,
Success
because
stories.
we do Q&A shows, but we've never done a success story show where we just talk about what you have implemented in your life, the changes you have made in your life that actually feel like real success to you. And that's what we want to talk about and share. And they're already coming in, and we haven't even talked about it yet.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is that, the listeners hear from us. They don't necessarily hear from each other. So this is a great opportunity for them to share their experiences. I'm hoping that what's going to happen is somebody's going to listen to it and think, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. I'm going to try that. So people are helping other people, through us.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
basically
People
what's
helping
happening.
people. It's
Yeah.
just like Mutual of Omaha.
So
Is that it?
That's
people
right.
helping people?
I
Maybe
don't
that's different.
I don't know. But we do need to get the success stories before June 21st because we'd
Okay.
like to record the show on the 23rd and have it go live on the last week of June. So if they can, whatever you want to share, whether it's a strategy or a situation that you overcame, whatever it is, you can call us. We would love to hear you. We hear your voice, right? On
503.
that phone number. Yes, there you go.
503-664-4ADD.
That's right. Or you can email me directly, Nikki, Nikki, at takecontroladhd.com.
There you go.
I sounded like you.
You did. You sound great.
I had like a radio voice.
Oh, yeah. You got nice and close to the mic, like you're in my brain. Here we go.
All right.
Waking up, starting the day right. Nikki, where did this come from, pray tell?
Well, couple things, because last week there was a question about I'm always pushing snooze and, there has to be sort of a negative consequence to me getting up. So that kind of generated some ideas. I know that sleep, not stress, well, stress too, but sleep is a huge issue with folks with ADHD. And it's because they're not getting enough of it, right? For the most part. And so when that's happening, you wake up and you're kind of in a grumpy mood. You're not feeling great. And when that happens, that can very much set the tone for the rest of the day. And so I thought it'd be great for us to talk about some ways that either we, have been able to turn that around, or just kind of have a conversation around that. Like, how can we make a bad morning, with a better result kind of thing, right? Like, how can we change this around?
I am absolutely in with that. And I think you've already talked about it. For me, it starts with sleep.
It does. It does. And, I think that that's a whole nother show where we can actually, and we have done it before, and we should probably visit this because it is such a huge issue. It does start with sleep, and it does require you to think about what your evening routine looks like and how, what kind of changes can you make and what kind of boundaries do you need to kind of set around yourself to try to get better sleep. What I kind of want to focus on is what is a person to do when that doesn't happen. Right. So, because the reality is, even if you are continuously working on your sleep and trying to get better sleep and more sleep, that's a process. It's just not going to happen overnight. And so what do we do with that? Like, okay, I still only got 5-6 hours of sleep. How do I function in the morning? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does. But I also am of a mind that because it's a process, because it takes concerted effort over time, it's going to get better, right? I mean, it's going to get better.
Sure.
You're going to be able to practice, but it takes that concerted effort and behavior change to do it.
Yes.
And so, that's kind of step one. CGP Grey posted a video, his video on his YouTube channel this month is called 7 Ways to Maximize Misery. And I just want to read the 7 ways, but I'm going to put a link to the show notes in the show notes to the video because you should go watch it. His style is charming, but generally I really like this video. So here are the 7 ways to be miserable. Number 1, remain indoors. Don't exercise and cultivate stillness, right? Stay inside. Make sure that you live and eat and pile your laundry in the same space. You are well on the road to misery if you do that. Number 2, screw with your sleep. Vary your wake and sleep times regularly. Never go to bed at the same time. Never wake up at the same time. Change it up every couple of days. Number 3, maximize screen time. Keep the phone on and in your hand all the time. Fall for the bots that are trying to keep your attention. And related, number 4, use your screen to stoke your negative emotions. Focus on the bad to fuel your resentment on the world.
Sorry. Wow.
Okay? I know. Stay with me.
That's great. Yeah.
Avoid setting goals. Don't make smart goals. Make vapid goals, like vague, amorphous, pie in the sky, irrelevant, and delayed goals. Learn to market an app, for example, before you learn to code. That will screw with your worldview, and it really will keep you on the highway to misery. Number 6, pursue happiness directly. Just fantasize about the happiest people, and don't think about what they did to get there. And you are going to be miserable because you will discover that is an inachievable thing. And number 7, which is related to all 6 of the above, if you're doing all 6 of the above, then you will develop the instincts that you can follow to continue to maintain your most miserable of lives. I didn't know what to make of this when I was like, why would he be doing this video? And then I heard at the end in his tag, he says, these 7 are distilled out of the book, How to Be Miserable by Dr. Randy J. Patterson, which I immediately purchased. He is a PhD, and he talks all about the psychology that goes into oppositional thinking. When you focus on one thing, you are, in this context, you're likely to achieve the opposite of it. If you focus on happiness and achieving happiness directly, you're going to be miserable, right?
Because you're not in that happiness, that mode yet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not in that mode. But all of these other things, right? If once you say, I'm going to stay indoors, not exercise. I'm just going to cultivate stillness, sitting in my bed. I'm going to hang out on my phone. You realize as you say those things how ridiculous they sound. Right. And yet that's what so many of us do when we're moving into that road of being compromised. Of course, our logical brain says this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do this. But then we do that. We do that because we don't know any other way when we're feeling at our very worst. And I think that is exacerbated by the ADHD experience. Mm-hmm. And so I really love that. I encourage you all to click on the link. It takes, less than 10 minutes, and you can watch his little video. It's very charming. The animations are cute. But it also, it tells an important story, and the link to Dr. Patterson's book is also going to be in the show notes. This is... I watched this and I once again deleted Facebook off my phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
I had
yeah.
done that a long time ago, and it was great. And then I had some client activity that I had to do while I was on the road. And so I put Facebook back on, and I never deleted it again. Well, it's gone because those habits built up. I was checking Facebook all the time. I was in line. I was on Facebook. And it's just ridiculous. I don't get anything out of it. It just fuels the resentment. It's gone. And so I think focusing on, once you turn the things that you do that are making you miserable into action items, you realize how ridiculous they are, and you'll naturally start veering toward having a better day. I know that's a little bit of a sidetrack, but I really hit me sideways when I watched that yesterday afternoon.
Well, and it's interesting because actually when I look at okay, what are the things that I do to help me kind of boost my mood or get out of any kind of low energy type of mood that I might be in, or crankiness, as I like to call it. The things that I have chosen to share are those things that are really on the positive side. I mean, it's taking kind of action steps to, I think, mindfully put myself into a different place. And so it's the opposite of these miserable items.
Yes.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, it is. It's you got to take some action. So I have a question for you though. If you wake up and you're really tired and you don't feel that great and you are kind of on edge, what do you do to get yourself out of that? Or can you?
Yeah, well, first of all, there is really no cure for regular sleep, right? There just isn't, right?
Right.
For me, waking up in the morning and feeling crummy, it doesn't. If I go downstairs and do what maybe 25-year-old me would have done, which is, depressingly eat breakfast and drink 3 cups of coffee, I'll get a stimulant that's sort of manufactured, and that'll keep me through a couple of hours. But it doesn't actually do the job of, waking me up. For me, I've got to get outside. I've got to do, it's number one, remain indoors, don't exercise, cultivate stillness. Well, I've got to do the opposite. I have to go for a couple mile walk, and I have to come back and drink a full water bottle. And I have to, I have to do those things. I have to keep air moving in my house, keep open windows, turn on fans. All of those things are those external stimuli are things that really help me figure out kind of which end is up on these days when I am most, groggy. And it makes me have a better day, right? Just breathing fresh air and taking in some sun.
Air. Yeah.
That stuff really helps.
Well, and I was going to say that's part of my what I do too, is that, I think it's great if you can exercise in the morning. I know not everybody can, but it is a great way to start the day, because even if you are tired or not feeling well, that exercise just pumps you up. You build up those dopamine, all of those feel good hormones, and everything that's going on is great. But I have found too that even if I can't do a full workout, even if I just do some exercise, whether it's some push-ups, some jumping jacks, yoga, squats, just getting something to get my heart rate, it helps. Just even 5 minutes of it can help and wake you up. And I'm with you. If you can go outside and do it, I think that's your ideal situation, because then you've got nature and you've got exercise, and that's a win-win. And be able to, breathe and breathe out and just listen to those little birds and not get annoyed by them at this point, because it's nature, Yeah.
Well, and water too,
Water.
I just kind of
I need to drink more water.
Drink that water bottle. Drinking water, a lot of water is
that the first thing you do when you wake up is drink a glass of water? I've heard that before, and I've never done it. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference?
Oh, yeah, absolutely it does. And, it does a couple of things. First of all, it wakes me up, right? It just gets my system moving.
Is it ice cold water, or just what kind?
No, it's in my water bottle. It's in my water bottle. I've been sitting on my bedside table for the night.
Yeah.
So it's just still room temperature water. And I just, I drink it while I'm kind of getting ready for the day. And so before I eat anything, I've had, my full water bottle. And, I'll go for my nice walk or a little run, and I'll come back, and then I'll have something to eat. And I also don't want to if you can't get out and exercise in the morning, get out and exercise at night. I actually find if I, if I go out for a little run in the evening, I end up feeling pretty good in the morning too. It's just one of those.
Sense.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. There's some research out there that, you can find either way. It says, you should never exercise before bed. I had a doctor tell me once, don't exercise before bed if you have sleep problems, because you're getting your adrenaline up, you're getting the chemicals in your body that are required to move are moving more quickly, and so it makes it harder to go to sleep. I found that once you get into a routine, coming home after a workout, spend an hour before you go to bed, you're fine.
You know what else I did?
What else did you do?
Well, actually, it's something I learned from an old trainer that I used to work with, and he called it GYST.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that he said, okay, do this before you even put your feet on the ground. Like when you first wake up, I want you to GYST. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And it basically means get your bleep together. Okay, GYS. Okay. You can kind of guess what the S is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I kind of think a nicer way to say that might be set the intention for the day. Right? So I kind of went from GYST, because that's not really who I am, to say that all the time. But I do like saying, set the intention for the day. And so a lot of times what I'll do, and I don't do it every day because I don't always remember to do it, but it is nice to do, especially if you are tired and you really don't want to get up, is to sort of set that intention for the day of what you want. It's kind of an affirmation of sorts, right? So sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to choose happiness today. I'm going to choose being positive. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to look for the good. And you're just sort of like kind of reminding yourself of how you want your day to be, and setting that intention right up. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to meditate, which a lot of people will meditate, right? We've heard about that. Like meditation in the morning is a great way to kind of stay calm and be at peace. And, but I don't recommend meditating in your bed. Like you kind of have to get out of bed.
Yeah, especially if you're struggling with, waking up in a good space.
Because
that'll put you right back to bed.
Setting the intention is different than the meditation. So I just want to be clear about that. You can include your intention within your meditation, but meditation in the morning is probably, you're going to fall right back to sleep.
Yeah.
If you're meditating in bed.
Yeah, you're going to go right back to sleep. Can I, speaking of all of these things, meditation, particularly setting affirmation and screen time, just a recommendation that has really helped us is don't pick up your phone and check the news first thing in the morning.
Oh, yes.
Right?
In fact, you know what I suggest doing? Listening to music.
Yeah. Yeah. Wake up to
music.
something that really gets you started.
Because nothing is going to keep you in a bad mood than watching the news.
Yeah, especially right now. It's too easy to find bad. You want to find bad news. You want to set yourself up for a negative course for the day. It's way too easy to do that right now.
Oh, I totally agree. agree. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, and I find I have to share one of my favorite musicians, because whenever I'm kind of down or I just need like a little boost, I listen to Jason Mraz.
Oh yeah,
love him.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love his music. I love his message in his songs and what he brings, to his music, and just the light in my life. I mean, seriously, it just makes me so happy. So if you have somebody like that really just makes you happy whenever you listen to them, I mean, that can definitely get you out of a bad mood and just be happier, right? I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just all of a sudden it's like that music is like, oh, all is good in the world.
Yeah. Or
do you have a musician like that? Is there somebody that you listen to?
Well, yeah, I play around with a lot of different kinds of musicians, and like I'm a big fan of Apple Music, and I'm a big fan of they have this this automated playlist, right? So based on what I have liked each week and what I've added to my library. They give me a new music mix that updates every Friday. And so I just set that to start playing in the morning. And it's music I have never heard because it's brand new, but it is based on the stuff that is already in my library. And it's gotten really good. The first several weeks it was terrible, but it's gotten really, really good now. And so there's nothing on there that I won't really resonate
enjoy.
with. Enjoy. What else do you do? How do you do? This is the big question for me, though. This is where I really struggle. And we implement all sorts of different workarounds and accommodations, but we tend to have to shake them up because once the family gets used to these accommodations, they don't work anymore. And that is how to help be a positive force for other people in the house who struggle with waking up.
Oh, I agree. I mean, that's a struggle. And, I like how you said you need to shake it up, because I think that is a strategy in itself. Like you find something that works and then it gets a little boring or somehow it gets off track. So that's your cue to switch it up in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great. I think you kind of have to do that, especially if you're living with ADHD and you've got family members who also live with ADHD. It's going to be in everybody's best interest if you switch it up a little bit and change it. And I don't know, whatever that looks like for each individual family. I think it's, this is a struggle for me too. And because I have 4 people in my family and there's 2 people who are morning people and there's 2 people that are more quiet in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And my son and I are alike, where we're okay with quiet. And it's not that I'm in a bad mood or that, because I'm actually very productive in the morning. I would say that that's the most productive time for me in the day is in the morning.
It's just like you need a little bit more social runway.
Yeah. I just don't need to talk all morning long. I'm fine just, being silent and getting ready for the day and not having that conversation necessarily. But my daughter and my husband are very positive and they talk and they sing and they have music on and they really just are having fun. And so what I've learned to do in my family is sort of embrace that, because I don't want to take that away from them, because that's not fair. And so I embrace it to as much as I can. And then there's some times where I'll be like, okay, I've got a really busy day and I have to just think. So, can you put the singing into the kitchen instead of in our bathroom? Kind of thing. But I do have to adjust to that. And I have a teenager who is not a morning person and he doesn't sleep very well. So there's many times where he's very on edge, and I have to be really careful. I have to be really careful not to have that mood be a domino effect.
Yes.
And it's taken me a long time. It's not perfect, but I finally have learned to walk away and not engage. And that's the best thing that I can do is notice that things aren't going well, or that he's, kind of not very nice in a teenager way. And I will let him be. I don't engage in it. I go back and sometimes I'll have to kind of take a few deep breaths or whatever, but I just don't engage in it anymore. And then that tends to set the mood better for me, because then it doesn't bring me down, and then he'll work through what he needs to work through, and by the time he comes home from school he's fine. And
that's really the thing. And I one of the other elements you put in the notes here, which I really subscribe to, it's along the same lines as don't go to bed angry, right? If you have an argument, don't go to bed in a fight. That's a terrible thing. It's the same thing in the morning. Even if you're having a rough morning, don't leave the house, don't leave the family in bad straits, and figure out ways to part, even if it's neutral. Don't part angry. You'll have a better afternoon, you'll have a better evening. People will have better days if they don't leave perseverating on something that happened in the morning that was triggered by and you didn't handle it well. Let go of it. Raise your head up, let go of the nastiness, and start the day. Make the choice to start the day without fighting.
Well, and I think that what you just said there is making the choice, I think, is really important too, is that we have to remember that we do have a choice. right? We have a choice on how we respond, even though sometimes that choice feels like it's taken away because of impulsivity, high emotions. I mean, I know this is not going to be, it's not going to work every single time. I get that. I have had conversations in the morning that I regret and wish that it never happened, But I think that choice is important because it empowers us. And so when we do, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like I finally got to the point where I can actually choose to not engage. Whereas before, I don't know if I felt like that was a choice. And when you can walk away, and then, like you said, it's just like not going to bed, angry. I have to smooth the waters here, because it is really important to me personally. And it probably is part of my anxiety, but I accept it. I am not comfortable if anybody in my family leaves the house without saying goodbye. So we need to always say goodbye to each other. We need to give each other a hug, and we always need to say, I love you. And that is so important to me. And I guess it's kind of, it is sort of like, gosh, worst case scenario is what I'm thinking. But
you're such a happy person, but you got some dark places, don't you?
Well, I never want that day to be where we got into an argument or we didn't leave on good terms, and
those are always the stories.
That's the day that something bad is going to happen. And I know that is totally anxiety driven, people. I totally get that. I accept that. I acknowledge it. I know that is part of my anxiety, but it's also really important to me that happens. Yeah. So I make it happen. And one day, I remember not too long ago, my son left without saying goodbye to me. And I texted him and I'm like, please don't leave the house without saying goodbye. I love you. I want you to have a great day. And he's like, okay, Mom, I won't do that. Wow. But it was really important to me that you can't do that. So, I call me crazy, but it is definitely something that even if I'm pissed off at the world and I'm really angry at something they did, I have to have that hug and I have to have that I love you.
I think that's really important. I love that message. I think this is as good a way as any to say goodbye for the week.
There you go.
Thank you, Nikki. That was really sweet.
I don't know if that ended on a happy note or a bad note, but
I think we're going to choose happy is what we're going to do.
Choosing happy.
That's right.
Well, Thank you. Think, just to actually really leave it on a happier note. I mean, that's the thing, right? All of our moods and things. I mean, it all comes down to relationships and connections and making sure people know we love them and we care about them. And we are doing, everything that we can to make it a happier environment for everyone. We want joy in our lives. And that's the intention of this show, is how can you bring that joy into your life, even if you had a bad morning or you didn't get as much sleep as you want. How can you not let that control the rest of your day?
Exactly. Thank you for that message. That's a great message. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. Don't forget, send us your success stories. We want to hear, and we'll get them on our show before the end of this month. Happy June, everybody. We appreciate your time and your attention. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright. We'll catch you next week right here on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.